It's a tale of two storms in the Atlantic, one a major hurricane roaring through the central Atlantic, and the other a tropical storm forecast to become another powerful hurricane, but both should remain away from land. And of course, the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. Hello, everybody. Mike Naso with this Wednesday evening update on the tropics as of 11 p.m. Eastern Time. We are looking at a couple of systems here in the Atlantic from left to right on your screen. We have an area of disturbed weather here near Central America, the Yucatan Peninsula, the Bay of Campeche, the Gulf of Mexico, and this is a low chance for development. We've been watching it, and it looks like chances decreased a little bit on Wednesday, which is great news, but it does appear whatever happens could get swept up to the east here towards the western coastline of Florida, spreading heavy rain across the peninsula. Thankfully, if it does occur, I think it'll be south of the areas that have been ravaged by Hurricane Helene, but it's still something we need to watch. The donut in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean is our Hurricane Kirk, which has undergone extremely quick intensification. This time last night, it was a Category 1 hurricane. Right now, a high-end Category 3 major hurricane. It should continue to strengthen into a strong Category 4 storm and then eventually turn on out. We won't have to deal with it. Tropical Storm Leslie has developed behind Kirk right here. It's getting sheared like crazy by Kirk's outflow. However, as Kirk moves on up, Leslie should be able to be in a better environment and move to the west-northwest and become a hurricane of at least Category 2 intensity. Another wave leaving Africa we're going to keep an eye on. Let's talk about Hurricane Kirk. As of 11 p.m. Atlantic time, it was at 19.5 north, 44.5 west, winds 125 miles per hour, moving northwest at 10. It's a very large hurricane and getting larger, and we could have swells propagating all the way to the islands of the Caribbean and Bermuda and the Bahamas over the next couple of days, especially by this weekend. By the time Saturday night rolls around, this could be a Category 4 hurricane sitting here in the middle of the Atlantic. The great thing about it is whether it takes the left edge of this cone or the right edge, it is out to sea, and by Monday of next week, we won't have to deal with Kirk anymore. Nevertheless, we're dealing with it now. Behind Kirk, here's Leslie, Tropical Storm Leslie as of 11 p.m. It's at 10.4 north, 30.1 west, winds of 40. It's a low-end tropical storm, moving west at 6 very slowly, kind of getting delayed there by Kirk's outflow, kind of shearing it, kind of holding it up. It should remain very slow westerly motion and then become a hurricane by the weekend, and then a stronger hurricane by early next week. It could be a Category 2 based on the National Hurricane Center's forecast. Now, this path is a little broader than Kirk's, but again, it appears as though this one will remain out at sea. There's a chance this could get a little bit closer to land, and we would have problems with high surf, but it doesn't look like it's going to take a track into the islands or anything like that, at least not right now. Here's the satellite imagery of our two storms. Kirk looking impressive. It looked a little bit better a couple of hours ago, but it is still very, very large. Good outflow here, great outflow off towards the southwest and southeast, all quadrants there. The southeasterly outflow here is what's shearing from the west our tropical storm Joyce. Or I'm sorry, not Joyce. Which one is this? Leslie. I'm losing my mind here. This is Kirk. This is Leslie. Leslie is being sheared by the outflow here from Hurricane Kirk, and that's what's keeping it in check. Again, it should move west-northwest and probably turn out, but this is going to be the one to watch in the islands more than Kirk, although Kirk will be bringing the big swells. There's more African waves leaving the coastline, and again, for early October, it's a little later in the year than what we'd normally see. It's making up for what we didn't see in August. Here is the model guidance. These are the spaghetti model plots, the ensemble models. This is the GFS. They all continue our system straight out to sea, which is great news, and they keep the system in the Gulf pretty weak here. The European models are much stronger with our systems in the Atlantic. There goes Kirk. Here comes Leslie. Another system after that, and then a little bit more strong members here with our system in the Gulf. So again, while they keep it away from the southeastern United States and Appalachia, it would cause heavy rain in Florida. So we're going to watch very carefully, and note here some of the European ensembles take Leslie a little too close for comfort for those areas there in the northeastern Caribbean. So it's something to watch. Look at this dramatic rescue here. Helicopter rescues from the New York Task Force in North Carolina. They continue to do amazing things. They're trying to save people stranded as the nation reels with the realization that we had one of the deadliest hurricanes in U.S. history impact the southeastern United States last week. Watch as this damage is just tremendous. Tremendous damage. And we're just starting to get some pictures in the areas that have been hit really hard. As I scroll through the X feed here, look at all the landslides here in western North Carolina. Asheville area, very, very nasty situation. Hendersonville, they just got demolished by those landslides. You don't see that very frequently. Black Mountain, all of western North Carolina, very bad flooding and just a bad situation all around. So again, we're watching our recovery aftermath there. As far as how deadly Helene is, we won't know for sure. I've heard that there could be 500 to 700 people unaccounted for, and the death toll is pushing 200. So this is the list of the 30th deadly mainland hurricanes. And by the way, there's a lot of debate on social media about why they're not including Hurricane Maria of 2017. It killed 3,000 people. A couple of things. First of all, there are reports that that is a vast overestimate of the death toll of Maria. Secondly, even if it's not, Puerto Rico is not a state. Okay? I understand its relation to the United States, but it is not a state. It is not the mainland United States. When I was tracking hurricanes as a kid in the 1990s, if there was a deadly Puerto Rican hurricane, there'd be a little asterisk and a little note at the bottom that it hit Puerto Rico and not the mainland U.S. This is a list of the mainland U.S. Galveston, 1900, Lake Okeechobee, 1928, Katrina, 2005. Those are the three deadliest. I do not agree with putting a Puerto Rico storm or a typhoon from Guam on any list of United States impacts. I'm sorry, okay? I'm a dinosaur. However, if Hurricane Helene ends up in the 200s, it will be in the top 15. If it ends up higher than that, it could even get into the top 10. Now, the reason for that, the devastating inland flooding that we saw, and that happens with a lot of these storms, especially over areas there that are very susceptible to the landslides in western North Carolina. Like I showed you yesterday, Hurricane Agnes, 1972, Camille in 69, very, very deadly, and that killed 256 people. So certainly, as far as the death toll, I don't think, and I hope, it won't reach Katrina's death toll of about 1,200, but it could be the deadliest after Katrina since 1969, maybe since 1926. So you're talking the second deadliest in at least 50, 60 years, if not more. So again, a very, very tragic situation. I'll keep you posted on the recovery efforts with Hurricane Helene, and we will also watch our two storms in the Atlantic, Kirk and Leslie, and keep an eye on everything else out there. I'm Mike Naso with the latest on the tropics. I'll talk to you next time.